The hell?
And that's a sex thing.
There's a light back there. There's no cars here.
Remote landscapes often speak a language of warnings we weren't meant to translate. From a sharp whistle signaling your location in the woods to a religious monument shattered by gunfire, the atmosphere is heavy with intent. When a place feels like it's rejecting your presence, do you trust your gut or wait for the silence to break? Jody and Joe run a van life travel channel based in the UK, sharing extended trips across Britain and Europe in a camper they built themselves. On March 20th, 2023, while stopped at a secluded campsite in the Netherlands during daylight hours,
Joe's apparently seen something that I have to see, so he's taking me and wants to film my reaction. Well, what is it? Is it like is it something positive or negative?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a sex thing or if it's a weird thing. Are you ready?
Joe spots something strange nearby and decides to record Jody's reaction, uncertain whether what he has found is harmless or something that could shift the atmosphere completely.
What is that? And that's a sex thing.
Oh, that is disgusting.
When Jody moves closer, she realizes a human-shaped item has been left out in the open near their campsite, an abandoned sex doll. Her reaction moves quickly from confusion to unease once the extent of the damage and wear becomes obvious.
I'm going to have nightmares.
That is a fully...
That's a sex doll. And someone's worn out the arm.
There's a sex doll here. I'm more concerned at how, brutalized it is.
What troubles her most is not the object alone, but the fact that someone intentionally positioned it there, raising concerns about purpose and safety in such an isolated place.
Someone needs a therapist. Massively. Great about sleeping here tonight. There's clearly a sex offender around.
Later, she explains that the campsite felt more disturbing than many others, not because of darkness, but because of its isolation and how the discovery stayed with her. Later, that same day, a local couple comes over to ask if parking there is allowed.
So tonight we're staying at our second scariest campsite. This one is absolutely pitch black. It doesn't look like there's anyone for a mile anywhere. So I just got stopped by a lovely couple over there, gave me a quick interrogation. He said we should be all right to stay for the night. And then he told me he's a policeman. So the policeman said we can stay here. I think we'll be all right.
One says he is a police officer, assures them that staying overnight is permitted, and later returns with fresh croissants, easing the earlier tension. Items found in remote locations are not always a threat, but intentional placement can heighten fear when human intent is suggested. When something unsettling is left in plain sight, is it simply careless abandonment, or a subtle signal meant for someone nearby? The Men's Life is a van life and travel channel focused on road-living remote journeys and abandoned locations. On December 29, 2022, Lomar goes back in daylight to a quiet spot in the Halifax area he had explored before at night, including a deserted cabin deep in the forest. Hoping daylight would bring reassurance, but quickly sensing that something still felt wrong. As he nears the cabin, faint speech-like sounds seem to move through the trees, unsettling because of how isolated the place is.
Yo, what's going on, my beautiful family? Welcome back to my daily life vlog. Today, I decided to return back to a aeronautical location where I came here with Blake, and we found a cabin literally down there. I think it's a hunting cabin. Don't know whose it is or what it's truly used for now, but we got back last night. I decided to come back out. Mysterious. Did you hear that? I swear to God, I just heard something already. So the cabin is literally right there.
The cabin looks empty, yet litter scattered across the porch points to recent human presence, making Lomar feel observed.
Get down below, but we straight up stumbled across this at nighttime. Makes me a little bit nervous because I really don't know whose it is or who has rights to it. Hello? Somebody in there? So sketch. There's antlers on the top. The hell? Someone definitely came recently. I remember a bunch more cans up there. As of right now, I feel like I'm being watched. Like instantly.
He remembers that on a prior visit, people may have been hiding nearby to frighten him, raising doubts about why anyone would stay in such a remote area.
So I actually think the last time we came here, people were actually down here trying to scare us out. Like, I don't know if people are tenting out down here, but I think we made it to this bend. Okay. All right, I need a quick break. What is that banging sound? Sounds like someone's ripping something apart. I seriously don't know what is out here, but I definitely feel like I'm being watched. So you guys could vicariously live through us.
Heavy knocking sounds soon echo through the woods, leading Lomar to send up a drone to survey the surroundings. For a short time, he considers a distant factory as the cause, but the noises do not fully match.
Holy smokes, look at that. So that's where I came from, I guess. What the? That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing some sort of factory. But if I turn more around, it just keeps going on.
When he heads back toward the cabin, a sudden loud impact sounds close by, followed by movement and a sharp whistle at close range.
I do know for a fact that we were sent here for a reason. What the what's that? I was in the middle of a... Like, I get the sense that people come here and do really weird things. The hell was that? Straight up heard movement behind me. I think someone's down there. Like right over there. I don't know, that was really weird. That sounded like it came from the path. Sorry if I seem a little bit stuffed up. Still got the aftermath of COVID. So, apologize if I'm a little bit still sniffly.
Certain someone is nearby, Lomar climbs to higher ground and hides while hearing footsteps and continuing noise below.
I think I gotta get out of here. I think there's one individual here somewhere. I get the sense that there's like at least one. I don't see anybody. Oh shit! Oh. They just noticed me. They just noticed me. Okay. Okay. I don't know if they're coming. I don't know if they're coming. Oh, shit.
In the end, he manages to escape and leave the area safely.
Whoever that is right down the path. Okay. Oh, that scared the shit out of me. What is that person doing down there? This is so fucked up. Oh my god. I'm gonna leave this recording for a bit. I straight up don't think I can leave at all. Oh my god. Okay. My instincts were seriously right. I knew there was someone here. Oh. What the fuck? What the f- Okay. Oh my god. Please do not. I'm literally tearing right now, guys. I think someone's trying to actually find me. There's no dog, there's no nothing. I'm gonna try and make a run for it. Okay. I think he went back farther down that way, because I did not hear anybody come down. Holy shit. I'm just gonna end this here. Love you guys so much.
No person is ever seen, but the incident shows how abandoned places can draw unpredictable behavior and how unfamiliar sounds can increase fear. If someone was deliberately signaling or watching him, was it only a harmless scare or a sign that he was not welcome there? Uncanny Expeditions is recognized for calm atmospheric journeys through abandoned locations and overlooked history. On December 30th, 2023, the creator heads to an isolated desert area near the Nevada-California border to examine what remains of Cathedral Canyon, arriving at a site he had intended to visit for a long time, without realizing how disturbing it would feel in person. Constructed in the 1960s by Roland Y. as a space for meditation, the monument once displayed religious imagery and decorative designs, but years of neglect and vandalism have left it badly damaged. As winter daylight disappears quickly, much of the exploration happens after dark, while the desert becomes noticeably quieter and visibility fades. The footage shows ruined structures across the area, including a religious statue whose head was shattered by gunfire, a result of the land being left unattended after Y's death.
Also on Mr. Wiley's property is the gravesite of Kehoe, a Native American outlaw said to have been accused of 23 murders. Is greatly disputed. A lot of people seem to think he was just blamed for a lot of murders that were happening in the area because he was kind of an outlaw or misanthrope. All right, let's do it. Enter the canyon. I'm walking up the road right now. I can just see the entrance coming up straight ahead.
Nearby lies a grave linked to a Native American outlaw accused of 23 killings, though historians question whether he was truly responsible, suggesting he may have been blamed because of his outsider status. This connection adds a darker layer of history to an already uneasy environment. As the explorer approaches the canyon entrance, the sense of isolation grows stronger, and small figurines left by unknown visitors appear oddly arranged in the stillness.
Here we have somebody set up some nativity scene figurines and a butterfly.
The visit implies that abandoned places can feel unsettling, not because of events happening there, but because of what neglect and history have left behind. When you are alone, far from help, and something feels wrong without a clear reason, would you stay or trust your instincts and leave? August 23rd, 2025. High in the Canadian Rockies along the Big Elbow-Little Elbow Loop, Jenna Alexis set out once again. Her YouTube channel, shaped by raw outdoor challenges and long solo rides, had carried her across many trails. But this route carried a memory. The previous attempt had ended with equipment trouble that forced her to turn back. Now she was returning, and the same obstacles were waiting.
Good morning. I had to cuddle up with my bike last night because it barely fits in here. Like, next to the bed, it takes up all the room. I had to take my cooler and bring it to the front and everything. It took me forever to get up and going this morning. I left my campsite at like 5 or 6, and then as soon as I got to the trailhead, I was like, you know what? I could use a little bit more sleep. So I took a nap in the parking lot for like 2 hours. And to be honest, I think I needed that. Like, I think I'm healthier for it. I've been running on fumes lately, but we're here now. We made it to the trail.
The first night set the mood. Cramped inside her tent with her bike pressed against her sleeping gear, Jenna barely rested. By sunrise, she was already drained, rolling back to the parking area to sleep for 2 more hours before finally starting the ride. The trail began under harsh heat. Streams cut across the route, and wearing Crocs, she stepped into icy water to cross them. Then came the rock's jagged, uneven, never-ending. Her loaded mountain bike started to break down. Bolts worked loose. The rack shifted out of place. She managed to repair using only a snapped GoPro stick gauze and carabiners. For now, it held together. That night revealed a worse oversight.
Last night was not one of my favorite nights. I was using my clothing bags as insulation from the ground because the ground was really cold. Then I had my pillow, backpack, and my legs were laying over my bike bags, which are super lumpy in the back. And I had my first aid kit over my tailbone that was like poking into the ground. Definitely like one of the bottom 5 sleeps I've ever had. I did get up at like 2 to see the meteor shower, and that was really cool. And I bet you if I had a comfy bed, I would have just slept right through it. So at least I got to see that. I just use a little carabiner to keep my straw for my water bladder like up and off just not dangling around. And I have my silly little GoPro harness that I should put on to carry you with me.
She had forgotten her sleeping pad. The ground was hard and cold. She lay awake, her body resting against piles of gear, quietly calling it one of the worst nights she had ever endured. At 2 a.m., she stepped outside and saw the sky burst with meteors, brief lines of light cutting across the frozen darkness. Not long after, the trouble returned. Another bolt dropped out. Another side of the rack failed.
One more unfortunate thing happened. I was hearing like a weird rubbing noise on my tire and I couldn't figure out what it was. And as it turns out, I lost one of the screws from my bike rack. I, being the smart person that I am, did not bring an extra. So the left bag is kind of rubbing on my tire. Like, it's still on, but it's not like good. So what do I do? Oh no. I hear some rubbing. Oh boy. It was going so well. What happened? Bro, you have got to be kidding me. The one on the other side fell out too. And I just tightened it when I fixed the other one. What is happening? Like on the exact same spot. And I tightened it right after I fixed the other one. So what's happening? I have one more GoPro thing on this, but I don't have any more gauze to like wrap it with. So...
And again it happened in the same location as before. The same trail, the same breakdown. Jenna repaired it once more, but the question stayed with her, why here? By the time she reached her van, the journey was finished. Her smile looked worn, and her decision was firm she would not come back. Viewers felt what she did. What are the chances this happens twice in the same place, one asked. Others labeled the loop cursed, pointing to the repeated failures, the forgotten gear, even the police encounter, as if the trail itself resisted being ridden. Some joked about the crocs and the improvised fixes, but beneath the humor was discomfort. This did not feel random. It felt like a pattern. So what really waits along the elbow loop? Only steep climbs and loose stone, or something else? When breakdowns return at the exact same point when even experienced riders say they will never go back, the question becomes harder to dismiss. If this trail tested Jenna twice, what might it demand from the next person who tries? In their most disturbing investigation yet, YouTuber Jared Barrett, known online as Bear, and his wife Tiff returned to a stretch of roadway that locals have feared for years. Commonly referred to as Murder Road, the area carries a grim reputation linked to violent crimes, illegal activity, and even rumors of bodies concealed in the surrounding forest. Some believe additional victims have never been found. The couple set out to reach a lakeside location where the first reported victims, 2 people shot by a hidden gunman, were believed to have been discovered.
It looks creepy, doesn't it?
Who wants to go into that?
We're about to go into that.
I thought coming during the day wouldn't be so scary, but now it's just a big black hole.
Well, you didn't make it this far last time. You didn't get to see the big black hole last time.
This is less scary with a little bit of light.
No, it is for sure. I like getting places with daylight now.
I don't think I get you the big black hole.
We're going in it.
What?
We're going right in. Did you just hear a voice? That sounded like a girl's voice.
Oh my gosh.
That was...
It's coming from the big black hole.
That was a scream.
Yes, it was.
Scream. Big black hole. Murder Road.
Their trip began just before sunset, as they entered what Jared ominously called the Black Hole, a pitch-dark section of road leading deep into the trees. Soon after moving into the forest, distant noises reached them, faint voices, and what Tiff said sounded like a scream coming from the darkness. Although uneasy, they continued forward, their flashlights cutting through the thickening shadows. Jared mentioned his earlier visit when he had seen a man walking silently through the woods without a light, a memory that only increased the tension. As night settled in, a sudden shout echoed through the air, followed minutes later by a gunshot somewhere in the distance. Tiff was shaken and wanted to turn back, but Jared urged her onward, hoping to locate reflective markers that were rumored to have been tied to trees where bodies had once been found.
Man, I do keep hearing voices, though. I just heard it again. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it's off in the distance. So, voices, and
Jerry.
There was a scream right after that.
Nope, I'm done. A gunshot?
Yeah, but we got one too. And that was far off as well.
I mean, bullets go fast, though.
Well, that's true, but I mean, that sounded like... I'm not too worried about that yet. If it starts getting closer, like we see the flash from the muzzle, then it's really time to get scared.
No, I mean...
Huh? Okay, no, we'll get scared before that. You're right. It's probably better to get scared before that.
Before long, another gunshot rang out, this time closer. The couple argued briefly over whether they were moving toward danger. Jared claimed the shots were not meant for them, while Tiff reminded him that the first victims were reportedly killed by a sniper hidden in the hills. Their fear intensified when they noticed what appeared to be a small light flickering deep in the woods. Jared tried to record it, but the glow vanished almost immediately. With no cars nearby and no clear reason for anyone else to be present, the sight was deeply unsettling.
Look. Give me the camera. Take my light.
I will take what?
Take my light. To put the lights down. Where'd they go? You see that back there, babe?
There's a light.
There is.
What the hell?
There's a light back there. There's no cars here, babe.
People here.
I know.
With guns. Jerry.
Hold on. We're okay. I want to get that light on camera better. Where'd it go? Do you see it? The light went out. I don't see it no more.
Jerry. No.
What do you mean?
I'm done. You're getting closer to the gunshot.
That was a lot closer. But I mean, it's not like aimed towards us, you know?
How do you know that?
Because they'd be closer.
Oh my gosh. You don't have to be close to...
No, the first 2 people were killed by a sniper.
Oh my gosh. I'm done.
What?
Nope. Done.
As they continued searching, Jared explained that investigators had once placed reflectors at suspected dumping sites to make them easier to locate later. He scanned the trees while the forest seemed alive with threatening sounds, distant voices, shifting wind, and far-off gunfire. Tiff admitted she was no longer comfortable, and even Jared began to question whether pressing on was wise.
We haven't even made it out the forest yet. We gotta look for reflectors where the bodies were found. What's that behind me? Is that a reflector back there? Shine your light back here real quick, babe. Look, right back here. You see a reflector?
What's a reflector?
So like the FBI and the detectives and stuff, they marked some of the body areas with reflectors, so when they come back, they could find it easy in the forest. So that's another thing we're going to be doing while we're walking, is we're going to shine like out in the woods, babe, and try to find these reflectors where the bodies were actually at.
There are people screaming and yelling and gunfire.
Yeah. I think we're okay, though.
No, I'm not okay.
I'm not too worried about it yet.
Oh my gosh, Jerry.
Well, okay. Can we go a little further? To look for the... I haven't been combing for the things yet.
See, this is what I mean.
What?
They never confirmed finding any reflectors, but what they did capture was an atmosphere of dread and the feeling that something remained just beyond view. Eventually, they chose to retreat, ending the investigation with both relief and lingering unease. The voices, sudden gunshots, and unexplained lights could all have ordinary explanations. Hunters' faraway echoes shaped by the terrain or reflections mistaken for lanterns. Still, the road's violent past and their rising fear may have influenced how every detail was interpreted. The chance of encountering real people with harmful intent cannot be ruled out, especially given the area's reputation. So, what do you believe was happening that night on Murder Road? A chain of natural sounds and coincidence, or something far more dangerous? And if you had been there, would you have kept moving forward or turned back as soon as the first gunshot echoed through the trees? Posted on the channel Pandemonium, this video describes a disturbing moment during a road trip across Oregon. After leaving a quiet campsite, the creator headed toward a new destination, enjoying peaceful highways and scenic views along the route. As storm clouds formed and lightning appeared in the distance, the mood changed.
Welcome to historic Baker City, established in 1874. Exits 306 and 304. Yeah, looks like we're getting ready to come into some rain up here. I see a downspout houseboat in front of Terry and Scott. Looks weird. I thought it was an RV at first. Don't litter. Max fine $6,250. Wow, that's a steep fine. The roads look pretty clean, so I guess it works. Here comes the rain. Rain, rain, rain. Up a steep hill we go in the rain. It seems we're turning away from the storm, hopefully. I don't know, the storm's kind of everywhere.
When friends reported hail the size of golf balls at a nearby campground, she chose to avoid the danger and spent the night in a Walmart parking lot instead. At first, the stop seemed ordinary. While resting inside the RV with the door open, she suddenly heard a man calling out 2 names, David and Shay. The voice started faint and far away, but gradually came closer until it was right outside the vehicle.
I think a big storm is headed this way. I just heard lightning and it's getting really dark over there. Terry and Scott are at the campground and they just dealt with like this size hail. So I don't think I'm going to be going to that camp spot. I don't know if I want to stay here at this Walmart. You hear? And not to mention, I just had something happen to me. So I heard this guy calling a name. He said David and Shay. David and Shay. And he did it multiple times. And I noticed the sound getting closer to my rig. And I was like, well, that's odd. My door was wide open. And I was laying in bed fiddling on my phone. So I got out of my bed and I stayed quiet. And I noticed the voice got really close to my door and yelled out, David, Shay. And so I started walking quietly to the front, and then they said it one more time, and they were standing right at my door, and I was like, can I help you? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I was looking for my friends, this rig looks like theirs. And I'm thinking to myself, this rig looks like theirs, but I didn't say anything at the time. But I haven't seen any rig that looks like Panda. I'm sorry. I don't know how you could mistake this rig for one of your friends. So I call bullcrap on that.
The man then appeared at the entrance and quickly offered an explanation, saying he believed the RV belonged to his friends. The excuse sounded unlikely, since her vehicle stood out and did not resemble any others in the area, making the claim feel suspicious. The uneasiness grew when she noticed the man was carrying a backpack, and his look suggested he might be transient, or possibly searching for something to take. Although he left without causing harm, the interaction left her feeling exposed. She admitted she had briefly thought about staying silent to see what he would do, but decided to respond instead, a choice that may have stopped the situation from becoming worse. Outside, the storm continued to build.
Anyways, he said, well, I'm sorry, and he walked away immediately. He was wearing a backpack, and I don't know if he was homeless or not. There are some, you can tell there are some homeless in this area, but I don't know if he was. It just struck me as weird, and I really think he was trying to steal my rig or steal the belongings in my rig, because, I mean, I don't see anybody having the same rig as Panda. I mean, come on, really? That was the worst lie he could come up, or excuse he could come up with. But, I mean, you know, I was going to stay quiet and see what he did, but then I was like, oh, do I want to get involved in that kind of drama? So I said, no, I'll say, can I help you, and see what he says. And he made an excuse and walked away. So, in that storm, there's a huge thunderstorm coming this way, so I don't know if I want to stay here or not. Not to mention, that did make me feel uneasy and a bit weary of this spot.
Thunder moved closer, lightning flashed overhead, and the threat of flooding or strong winds added more stress. After considering her options, she chose to remain in the parking lot rather than drive into worsening weather with a vehicle not designed for rough terrain. The encounter may have been a simple misunderstanding, but the timing and weak explanation make that uncertain. It is possible the man was only looking for shelter, yet the way he approached, calling out names while moving closer until he reached the door, feels questionable. Along with the storm exhaustion and the vulnerability of staying in a public place, the moment shows how quickly a calm night can turn threatening. What do you think, was the man truly mistaken? Or was he using the names to check if someone was inside? And if you were in the same situation, would you have spoken up or stayed silent to see what happened next?
That's it for tonight. Which moment creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story? Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.